Buenos dias, guys. I screwed up the video, but the good news is it's going to be a lot shorter. All right. All we did is we checked in work so far, and Ceci screwed something up, so we're going to make an example of him. What Ceci did is he, in his work, he, what is it? It said like Soy de Mexico, let's say. And then for the next five, all they did is like change the subject, and then the rest of it was the same. So what he did was he went like this. Repeat on it down below. I totally understand why you would do that, but in Spanish, I want you to write it out. Because although in your mind it's a waste of your time to rewrite that, when you are learning Spanish, the repetition is key. So even though it seems stupid, the more that you are writing this out, the more that the spelling of these words are imprinting on your brain, the more that you're thinking through some of these meanings, okay? So in general, do not do that. Please fill out everything when you're writing the sentences, okay? Okay, Mr. Case, good. All right. Get rid of this thing. Okay, let's learn. Put away your iPads. Don't use Google Translate. Google Translate seems like an easy fix, almost like a cheat to get work done. The problem is it is going to screw you up, guaranteed. Might not have yet, but it will. Because it translates literally and does not have any sense of the context. You are in a certain context in each chapter. And the dumb thing is that you've got your vocab. If you did your vocab, you've got it. So instead of having to search all the internet for a word that you have to type out, all you do is pull out your vocab sheet, and it's got exactly what it means within this chapter. Anyway, let's get to the new material here. I think we're going over articles today. So, saque en sus apuntes. You should have your iPads away, workbooks away, but you can take out your notes. Saque en sus apuntes. Take out your notes. You guys started the homework, some of you. Isn't 32 is just like vocab, right?
Yeah, it's the class vocab, like rule and stuff.
Okay, good. Thank you. So 32 is just a review of the vocabulary. You doing some exercises to try and make that clearer. This next page, 33, deals with something that we haven't talked about yet. Many of you may know this stuff from previous Spanish classes, but my guess is even if you do, there are some things to review that you may have forgotten. All right? So would someone please read the first part here for me, so I don't do all the talking. Good. Go ahead.
Do I read the bullet point?
Sure. Read the title and then the next two things. Go ahead.
Using definite articles as nouns. Nouns refer to people, places, things, or concepts. All nouns in Spanish have a gender. They are either masculine or feminine. Nouns that end in O or consonants like R or L are generally masculine and are often used with the definite article L, which means the. Whereas nouns that end in A, Sion, or God are usually feminine and are often used with the definite article la.
Excellent. Good job. And I liked your pronunciation. I thought for sure we were going to hear Sion, Dad, and stuff like that. And you did a good job keeping the pronunciation. All right. So the first concept is the weirdest. You got to get used to, in Spanish, words will have gender. Once you've accepted that concept, then everything else is easy, okay? It is, so all nouns are going to have gender. That's what the L in la is that you've been doing in your vocabulary. And in the general rule, and maybe all you covered in a previous Spanish class, is if it ends in O, it's going to usually be masculine. If it ends in A, it's usually going to be feminine. But this is going, remember I said, some of you may remember this from previous classes, but there's some things to review. The things that you could review are things like this, that O and A, those are the easiest ones, and in general are going to be true. If it ends in R or L, it also will typically be masculine. If it ends in sion or dad, it will typically be feminine, okay? So, but this is of the things in Spanish that you're going to hear me say, and you probably already have heard me say throughout the year, Spanish is better than English, and the reason is that it's clearer than English. In English, we break rules all the time. In Spanish, in general, a rule is set, and it actually follows the rule most of the time. This is the one that's the most murky, that O and A, if it ends in O, almost always masculine, ends in A, almost always feminine. But there are more exceptions to this, just things that you just have to memorize with it, okay? So anyways, the examples they gave here. Masculino, el chico, el chico. El borrador, ending in R. El papel, ending in L. For femenino, the biggest example, la chica. Okay? Other examples though, la pronunciación and la posibilidad. The sion or dad ending typically also going to be feminine. Some nouns are irregular, they do not follow these patterns. So this is what I was talking about. In Spanish, typically a grammar rule is followed. With this is where it can be a little tricky and frustrating as an English speaker learning Spanish, because you go, oh, dia, that's got an A. Must be la, right? Nope, it's L. Why? Don't know, it just is. You got to remember it. No great explanation. What is interesting about this is, remember we said buenos dias, and everybody keeps wanting to say buenas. You say buenos because you're talking about el dia. So the buenos goes with dias, the fact that that's plural. Anyway, el problema, by the A ending, what would you think this would be? Oh, yeah, you're translating, true. I'm sorry. Let me clarify. If it's problema, what gender would you think it would be? Feminine, right? And it breaks the pattern here, and it's actually el problema. You see mano, you would think that would be masculine, and instead it's actually feminine, la mano. Radio, you would think would be masculine, and in fact it's going to be feminine. So there are things that break the rule, and as I've said, tends to be less in Spanish, but this probably is one of the areas that is more frustrating in breaking the rules. Some nouns that refer to people may have only one form. The gender of the person is indicated by the definite article, okay? So, what they're saying here is certain words, it's not like el estudianto and la estudianta. Student is kind of like genderless, estudiante. It's going to be estudiante either way. But you show the gender by putting on the article. El estudiante or la estudiante. Artista, you would think that that would be a feminine word, but there can be masculine artists, right? So instead of going to artisto, what you do is you just put el artista and la artista. You guys understanding so far? Any questions so far? Okay? Going on. Nouns also have a number, okay? So, can be singular, one, or plural, more than one. If a noun ends in a vowel, you just add s to make it plural. If a noun ends in a consonant, you add es to make it plural. The accompanying plural of the definite articles are los and las. In Spanish, articles and nouns have to agree in gender and number, okay? Let me try to make an equivalence here. This would be like in English, if the word ends in a consonant, what do you do to make it plural? Just add s, right? In general, that's what you do. What if a word ends in a y and you make it plural? What is it? IES. Good. Some people know that. Although in my English class, when I'm checking essays, I see a lot of family apostrophe s to make it plural. That is not what you do. With a one that ends in a y, you change it to IES. Why am I talking about this? I'm trying to make you understand that we have rules for making things plural in English also. And so in Spanish, this is what the rule is going to be. If it ends in a vowel, like amigo to amigos, vowel A, amiga to amigas, all you do is add S. If it ends in a consonant, you put the ES on. El papel to los papeles, la pared to las paredes. You guys understand vowels and consonants. Sometimes kids get frustrated or not sure of that. Vowels, A, E, I, O, and U. If it ends in any of those, usually O or A, you just add S. If it ends in any of the other letters, so what are there? There's 26 letters, so the other 21 letters or whatever. If it ends in any of those, then you just put ES, and then you make your article plural. Does that make sense? Any questions? All right. Now we get a little bit into the weeds here. For nouns that end in Z, you change the Z to C in the plural. This is more like what I was just talking about. In English, the equivalent to C, so what they're saying, okay, first let me make sure you understand what they're saying here. If it ends in Z, when you make it plural, you don't just put the ES on like you would think. From what they just said, when it's a consonant, you just add ES, right? But they're saying, well, that's not true. When it ends in Z, you change it to C first, and then you put on the ES. Loose ends with a Z. To make it plural, you change the Z to a C, and then put on the ES. Do you get that? Okay, and what I was saying in English, it would be like how we have, the reason I always do this is sometimes I'll say this and kids will go, oh, why do they do that? That's stupid, why can't they just do it all the same? I want you to understand that we do the same things in English, but since they're native language, we don't think about it, okay? In English, when you make family plural, you would think that you would just go like that, and you don't. When you have it end in Y, it goes to IES. It's the same type of thing as this. Make sense? All right. It may be necessary, let's get rid of this. It may be necessary to add or remove an accent mark when making a noun plural. So el examen, when it becomes plural, you have to add an accent mark. It goes to los exámenes. And then this one has an accent when it's singular, la lección, but when you make it plural, the accent goes away. Las lecciones. There's actually a very good reason for that, and I don't think they're going to talk about it now, and it's probably good. Let me see here. Yeah, it doesn't look like they're going to talk about it, which makes sense. There's a rule in Spanish in terms of where you put the accent on what syllable. It's the next to last syllable is where you're supposed to put it. So that actually makes total sense. Right now, though, just understand that if something has an accent mark, it may change when it goes to the plural. We'll talk about later in terms of vocally where the accent should go and why that rule totally makes sense once you understand that. All right. I think that was it. Let's see if they've got something on the next page here. That was it for this page. Let's see if there's any more here. Okay, no, they just get into some exercises with this. So let's see. You think you understand what the deal is with masculine and feminine? Okay, so let's try some of these exercises here and see how you, let's see. Okay, let's have a, saquen una hoja de papel. Take out a piece of paper y un lápiz o bolígrafo. You hopefully already have paper out for your notes, but you may want to put this somewhere else. Like when we've done listening exercises before, you may have a couple pages devoted to that. If you were to go to that, that would be good. Saquen una hoja de papel y abren un lápiz o bolígrafo. All right. Trying to think here. Hopefully you took notes. And you might want to be looking at the notes as you go through this. Here we go.
Objetos en la clase. Da cada sustantivo con su artículo definido. Sigue el modelo.
Modelo.
Pupitre.
El pupitre.
They're going to give you the word. You add the article.
Uno.
Right now.
Puerta. 2. Cuaderno. 3. Ventana. 4. Borrador. 5. Escritorio. 6. Lápiz. 7. Lección. 8. Página. 9. Mapa. 10. Actividad.
Did you write down stuff? Oh, okay, you just worked ahead or something? Okay. All right, so, las respuestas. See how you did here. First one should have been la puerta because of, why? How do you decide it? The A at the end. Numero dos should have been el cuaderno. Why? The O at the end. Numero tres should have been la ventana. Why? A at the end. Numero cuatro, el borrador. Why? The R. Okay, how many got this one wrong? Raise your hand. No? Okay, good. That's why I was saying you might want to have your notes out, is for those other ones. Hopefully you wrote them down, and then it's real easy. If you didn't write them down, you might come distant there. El escritorio, why? The O at the end. How about el lápiz? How many got this one wrong? No one? Everybody got it right? Okay, good. With this one, the Z ending, you just kind of have to remember that one. How about la lección?
Why is it like that? Why is it not L?
Let's see.
Lección? See how this one actually has a good reason. If you took notes, you may have written in your notes that when it ends in Sion, that is a common indicator of it being feminine.
I didn't pay attention to
Okay, so what you might want to do, and the advantage of having done this is put a star and write that down so that you know that that's something you were unsure of, and you'll know to study for the quiz. You know what I mean? Okay. The next one, la página. How come? Everybody? The A at the end. Nueve. El mapa. How many got this wrong? Okay? You kind of should have gotten this wrong. Why? Because it ends with an A, so what would the general rule be? La. So this is just one of those that's an exception, like El Dia. So the only way you would know this is if you really paid attention when you were doing your vocab and put the articles with it, and maybe you went, oh, wait a minute, that's weird, and it's stuck in your head. But that is one that kind of goes against the grain. It's just an irregular one. How about la actividad? Why do we know that one should be feminine? Because of the dad, okay? So they, Ceci, real quick, this is the part that you should have in your notes here. The easy part is the O and the A, right? That's what I said in your previous classes, you probably learned that. What you may not have are common masculine ones also end in R or L, okay? And then common feminine ones, besides A, they also end in Sion or Dad. Make sense? So, how do you know lapis?
I just remembered it.
You just remember it, okay? Lapis is El Lapis. Is there any good reason for it to be El Lapis? No. It's like Dia, it's like Mapa. It's one of those that you just know. You just have to know, okay? Through experience, you gain that knowledge. Okay? Good. Let's do one more activity here, and then we'll be done. Might even get cut off here. This one, eight of them, you're going to make them plural, okay? You're going to make them plural. So in your, in the listening exercises, write this down, please. Here we go. Or should we not do this? Let's do this. Let's just do it out loud. Okay, numero uno, la regla. What is that going to be, Diego, Dinero? Las reglas, good. You make the la to las, plural. Regla ends in a vowel, and when it ends in a vowel, you just add S. Make sense? Bueno. Numero dos, Felipe, what's that going to be? Los días, okay? What he initially did is he just made this plural. In Spanish, you got to have the articles agree with the noun. So if you make this noun plural, then the article has to go also. He corrected himself. Good job. Los días. All right, Miguel, what about el marcador? What's that going to be? Okay. Los marcadores. Good. You're going to, okay, I can't write, but you're going to put the ES on because it ends in a consonant, right? And then you make the article plural also. Make sense? Good. I'll come around with white. And just got those 2 pages for the weekend. Pretty easy assignment. Have a great weekend. See you Monday. Stay healthy. Stay safe. Stay away from dumb people who aren't safe.
It's not that hard.
Adios.
Will the name part be cut off on the listening question?
Will the what?
The name part be cut off in the listening question?
Yes. That's why it is going to be, oh, you remember that in the video or something?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Adios, fin de semana.